In this video, you will learn what schema.org and JSON-LD is. Hey and welcome back, nice to have you in the second session of Module 1. In this video, I'm going to tell you how structured data works. I am Florian, the developer of SNIP, the Rich Snippets and Structured Data plugin for WordPress. If you want to use the plugin, please feel free to follow the link that you can find in the description area. For humans, it's super easy to recognize very fast that a current page is a product page, for example. You understand that because you see that there is a product picture, a price, and maybe an add to cart button. We as humans have learned that certain pages have a certain appearance. But for search engines, it's different. They don't have the understanding of a product page, add to cart buttons, or something like that. They only see code. That is the reason why you should use structured data. Like I said in the previous lesson, structured data is metadata that is stored within a web page, but invisible to the user, just like the GPS coordinates in a picture. Structured data is code. Don't be frightened when I show you an example right now. I will walk you through everything in detail, and with SNIP, my Rich Snippets and Structured Data plugin for WordPress, it's not necessary to create or read such code. However, for a better understanding, I recommend to take all the lessons I have provided so that you understand what's going on in every detail. And here it is. If you are on the podcast right now, you can switch to the post of this lesson to see how the code looks like. Basically, we only have key value pairs here. So let's make the code a little bit more pretty to see exactly that. If we split this up a little better, you can see that the structured data type is a product. Our product has a property with the name of SNIP, the Rich Snippets WordPress plugin. Every product needs offers. In this case, there is only one offer, a child of the product, so to speak. This child has its own key value pairs, for example, the current availability of the item, the price, the currency code of the price, and so on. So basically, that's everything you see with your eyes when you see a product page. But again, for the search engines, it's not that easy. But when they read this piece of code, it suddenly becomes totally clear to them too. All the major search engines worked together to create a standardized vocabulary. To be precise, Google, Bing, and Yandex can understand the same syntax, which makes it way easier to create structured data for all the search engines. And the base vocabulary is called schema.org. Don't be surprised by the web design. It looks like it would be from the 90s. Strangely, you can find everything you need on this website. The website answers the question, is there a schema that I can use for special purpose? All you need to do is to look it up on the list of schemas. Just click the schemas link on the top navigation bar and then choose full list of types shown on one page. And here we go. The very basic thing you need to understand is that on the very top there is a schema type called thing, because thing can be anything. Then you have to define what schema type you want to use. In my case, it would be the product type. If you scroll down a bit, you can find it. I have deleted all the other schema types for a better understanding. So in this image, you can see that a product is a thing. If you write about cars on your website, you may want to use the car schema type. As you can see, car is a vehicle, which is a product, which is a thing. So everything is, as the name suggests, structured. With something like that, you can describe the whole world. However, you can imagine that this is a ton of work. That's why the schema.org website is constantly changing. Here is another example. If you looked up a recipe in one of your past searches, you have maybe recognized that some of the search results are coming with a picture, a cooking time, and information about calories. Or even cooler, Google shows the first steps on how to make certain dish directly in the search results. It really can't get any more notable than this, can it? Such search results are called rich cards, by the way. I am sure we will see more enriched results like these in the near future. All this is done only by adding schema.org code to your blog post, because schema.org also has a schema type for recipes as well. As you can see on the picture, a recipe is a how-to, which is a creative work, which is a thing. Okay, let's go back to the product type and have a detailed view into this schema type. When you go to schema.org/product, you can find all the properties a product can have. For example, you can find the offers property in there. That's the property that I have showed you earlier in this video. When you scroll down a bit, you can find properties that the product schema has inherited from its mother schema type, which is in this case the thing schema. The name property is such an inherited property because everything in this world has a name. If we scroll down further, we can find some examples. First is the example that has no structured data. That's basically only the HTML code without any further metadata. In our case, it would be the product page. If it's rendered in the browser, your grandma can read and understand it. But search engines cannot, so we have to use structured data here. Now you need to know that there are different formats you can use to mark up your content. There is microdata, RDFA, and JSON-LD. The latter one is the one I have showed you previously. I would also say that that's the easiest one because there are only key value pairs. Google recommends that format too, so it's the one we have to cope with. Microdata is the format that was used before JSON-LD was invented. It was super difficult to integrate. For example, every WordPress theme and plugin author would need a certain understanding of schema.org. Plus, as a developer, it blows up your code in a way that you can't read or understand it anymore. That's the same with the other format, RDFA. So I don't really get much into detail with these two formats. You wouldn't need it anyway, as my plugin only integrates with JSON-LD, and it's super handy by just point and clicking everything together. I will show it to you later. Now let's sum that up all together. From the previous lesson, we know that search engines want to understand what is on your site. For example, if the current page is about a product. Because search engines are really good in reading code, we have to give them some structured data that are readable to them, but not visible to the normal user. All major search engines work together to constantly enhance the schema.org website. That page is something like a reference book where you can find valid schema types. Schema types are hierarchical, but the main type is called a thing. A single schema type has schema properties. With that properties, you can describe a thing like a product even more. In our example, we use the offer attribute to tell search engines how much the product costs. A child schema type inherits all properties from its mother schema types, so you can use them as well. In our example, that was the name property. Structured data can be expressed in different formats, but the recommended one is the JSON-LD format. Now you have to integrate that schema.org syntax into your website. You can do that manually by writing code or by using a certain plugin like SNIP, my rich snippets and structured data plugin for WordPress. It saves you a ton of work because you don't need to write a single line of code, plus it can do a lot more for you. I will go into detail very soon. Sounds cool? Perfect. In the next lesson, I will answer the question how to find the right schema types that produce rich snippets on search results. See you soon.